This is your USMNT Abroad weekend update from August 15th to August 17th of 2025. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And welcome to a channel favorite, the US Men's National Team Abroad series, where every single Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend. Now listen, we're essentially picking up where we left off last season. There are a lot of players that are still injured. We're going to talk about that throughout the video. Some of them are still recovering from injuries that happened last season. But listen, there's nothing to fear here. We have hit rock bottom with the US Men's National Team, which means it cannot get worse and things will only get better. And it'll be so good, it'll be so great that we're going to kill it in the 2026 World Cup. All right, I don't really believe in what I just said, but I hope that's what happens. With that said, don't forget to drop a like in this video because we are back and we want to hit 1,000 likes in the very first US Men's National Team Abroad episode of the 2025-2026 season. Let's roll the intro and let's start the recap. As always, we start with the top 5 leagues in Europe, the first one being the English Premier League. But this season, I will not start with the Premier League. I will start with the Italian Serie A. Now, you may be wondering, why? And the answer to that is because I wanted to. I called a friend of mine that lives in North Korea. He's a very nice guy. He's a little chubby. He loves fireworks. His name is Kim, but he's a great guy. And he told me that I shouldn't really ask what my people or my audience wants. I should just do whatever I want, and I'm gonna follow Kim's advice. So for that reason, we're starting with the Italian Serie A. And the first two players that I want to talk about, their names are Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musa from Milan. Oh, and shout out to Kim. He's totally watching this video. And on Sunday, Christian Pulisic started and played 65 minutes for Milan during their 2-0 win over Bari in the Italian Cup round of 64. I didn't really like Christian Pulisic's first 15 minutes of this game. It was clear that this was Rafael Leão's team and that Pulisic was behaving like a sidekick. It was essentially as if Rafael Leão was Batman and Pulisic was Robin, except for they should both be Batman or both be Robin. Now, once Rafael Leão got injured around minute 15, Pulisic became by far the best player on the field. He was the most dangerous one. He created 5 chances. He had 4 shots. He hit the crossbar. He started to take on defenders and be more aggressive. And ultimately, it ended up with him scoring in the second half to get them the 2-0 lead and the win. And it was a very nice goal. It was a great combination play with Santi Gimenez, followed by a nice turn within close range from Christian Pulisic and a good finish. And here's the thing about Christian Pulisic. He's been one of the best, if not the best, Milan player for the past 2 seasons. He's earned the right to call this his team, especially after Reinders left. Rafael Leão did not have a good season last year. So don't behave like you're below Rafael Leão. He's earned it. This is also his team, and that's what I want to see on the field. I just want him to impose himself, right? We saw some issues with that last year, where Pulisic was the penalty kick taker and someone else would take it. I don't want to see this happen again, right? Theo Hernandez, he's gone. That dude looked like an asshole. Leão is still there, but I think he is a nice guy, and Christian Pulisic and him can both be the man, or can't be the man, but the main players of this team. So I just want to see Pulisic do that. That's my point. So Christian Pulisic was very good. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 performance. It was a good start to the season, and next week they have their Italian Serie A debut. Oh, and for most of this game, Christian Pulisic played as a second striker, and at times he looked like a left winger. As for Yunus Musa, he was subbed in the 65th minute, and he was fine. He didn't do anything bad or great. He was just fine. He helped Milan hold on to the 2-0 lead in advance. Last but not least, in Italy, we have Weston McKennie from Juventus. They had a friendly, I believe on Friday or Saturday, against Atalanta, and he was on the bench. He was subbed in super late in the game. Now, does that mean he's a backup for Juve this season? We don't know. This happens every year. He has to earn his spot, and then eventually he earns it, becomes a starter, sometimes even a captain. So we'll see. Next weekend, Juve will have their first game of the Italian Serie A, and I guess that's where we're going to find out if McKennie is actually benched or not. And there's obviously rumors that he will leave Juventus, right? It wouldn't be the summer if we didn't have Weston McKennie rumors of leaving Juventus. But as of now, he is a Juve player. We just don't know if he's a starter or not. Okay, time to leave Italy and go to the island, go to England, and talk about the Americans in the English Premier League. The first one being Chris Richards from Crystal Palace. And on Sunday, Richards started and played the full 90 minutes for Crystal Palace during their 0-0 draw with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Richards was great. He won 100% of his aerial and ground duels, every single duel that he had this game. He was rock solid defensively, helping Crystal Palace hold this clean sheet. And they also faced a very tough Chelsea side, right? They have Cole Palmer, João Pedro, Neto, Estevão, Delap, and they still managed to get a clean sheet and get the 0-0 draw while also getting screwed over by the VAR. Richards was already great last year, but this one will be his real breakout season, and that's perfect timing because we have a World Cup coming up. Next up would have been Anthony Robinson from Fulham, but he is still recovering from the knee surgery that he had during the summer. It looks like he's healthy, but it's just going to take time to get him back. He could be available next weekend. It might take a few weeks. The thing is, he is questionable or even doubtful for the US men's national team camp this September. So A-Rob did not play for Fulham this weekend. He was not available due to his knee. So right now, we're going to talk about Tyler Adams from Bournemouth. And on Friday, Tyler started and pretty much played the full 90 minutes because he was subbed out around the 89th during Bournemouth's 4-2 loss to Liverpool. And this was an interesting one because if you look at Tyler's overall performance, it was actually pretty good. He was solid defensively for probably 90% of this game. And the first goal that Bournemouth scored started with a wonderful through ball from Tyler that initiated the counterattack, so he essentially got the hockey assist. Now at the same time, I get it why some people were being critical of Tyler Adams during the game. He is not very useful in possession despite the hockey assist. Just watch the game, it's pretty obvious. And he was directly or indirectly involved in 2 of the goals that they conceded. For the first one, I thought blaming Tyler was a bit disingenuous because he was not going to be able to stop the forward, right, without conceding a penalty kick and probably getting a red card. So he stopped and avoided contact. But had he pretended that he could have stopped the play, many would have been okay with it. He just chose not to really put on an act. Now for the second goal, he did get beat way too easily, but so did 2 other Bournemouth players. And they're all at fault. I'm going to give Tyler a 5 or 6 out of 10 performance. It was about average to above average. I didn't think he was bad by any means. It was also Liverpool. Take that into account. That is one of the best teams in the world right now. And then after Tyler, we have Brendan Aronson from Leeds. But we record this on Sunday, and Leeds plays Everton on Monday. So let us know in the comment section down below, how did Brendan Aronson do against Everton? Now, before we continue, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, SoRare. And if you want to play SoRare, the link will be in the description with a special offer. We'll be back in a minute. If you like fantasy sports, I got the perfect one for you. Tactical Manager TV is partnering up once again with SoRare with a special offer. Just use the link in the description of this video. In SoRare, you can collect your own virtual cards of your favorite players. But why would you want to collect virtual cards? Because you can line them up on 5-a-side games every single week, and if the players perform in real life, you can win real money, unique experiences, signed jerseys, game tickets, or even more cards to improve your club. And SoRare doesn't only have soccer, they also have the NBA, and they have also Major League Baseball. Unlike other fantasy games where it's pay per play, in SoRare you pay to get the players you want permanently as cards, and then you can play multiple times using those cards until the player retires. And if you are new to SoRare, you can sign up with the link in the description of this video with a special offer. You will get a 50% bonus in your first few purchases up to $300 spent, which means if you use the link in the description and you never bought cards before, you will get 50% as credit up to $300 spent. So if you spend $300, you get $150 in credit. Essentially a $150 welcome bonus. Thank you very much, SoRare, for partnering up with Tactical Manager TV and sponsoring the channel. Okay, we're back, and now we're going to talk about the Americans that play in Germany. The first one being Malik Tillman from Bayer Leverkusen. He was not available for them this weekend due to a mysterious injury. However, it has been reported that he should be available for them next weekend when the Bundesliga starts. I wouldn't expect him to start, but he's very likely to come off the bench. Next up would have been Gio Reyna and Cole Campbell from Borussia Dortmund, but Dortmund plays on Monday. Now listen, Cole Campbell did agree to terms with Stuttgart, but that transfer was blocked by Borussia Dortmund because they want Cole Campbell to stay. As for Gio Reyna, he is technically still a Dortmund player, but I don't even think he has a number right now because Joe Bellingham took his number. And he is expected to leave Dortmund by the end of this transfer window. Apparently, Real Sociedad is interested. Parma is definitely interested, but they can't agree to terms in regards to a transfer fee. We'll keep you all updated. When Gio Reyna gets a move, we'll make sure to let you know. So follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and I guess here on YouTube. So next on the list, we have Joe Scally from Borussia Mönchengladbach. And on Sunday, Joe Scally started and played the full 90 minutes for Gladbach during their 3-2 win over Atlas in the DFB Pokal. The other player would have been Noah Kai Banks, but he stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Augsburg in their DFB Pokal game, where they got a 2-0 win. They advanced, but Noah Kai Banks just stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes. The next American I want to talk about that plays in Germany is Paxton Aronson from Eintracht Frankfurt. And on Saturday, Paxton started off the bench and was subbed in the final 10 minutes for Eintracht during their 5-0 win over Angers in the DFB Pokal. Paxton scored their 5th goal in this game. Now, 2 quick updates. Kevin Paredes is injured once again. Unfortunately, he's out till probably November or December of this year. This is not good, but it is what it is. And the good news is that James Sands is back from injury. He started, played the full 90 minutes for St. Pauli. They advanced in the DFB Pokal. They won on penalty shootouts, and James Sands played the entire game. He's back from injury. He's healthy. And I know he's probably not going to be in the U.S. men's national team roster, probably ever again, unless we have a B team or we have a lot of injuries. But I still think it's worth mentioning because he is an American starting in the Bundesliga. Even though this was a DFB Pokal game, he will be playing the Bundesliga next weekend. Now let's leave Germany and go to Spain to talk about Johnny Cardoso, the American that plays for Atletico Madrid. And on Sunday, Johnny started and was subbed out at halftime for Atletico Madrid during their 2-1 loss to Espanyol. Okay, right away, I want to say that Johnny was actually very good in the first half. Just rewatch the game if you want to. His positioning was great, the counter pressing was great, he was steady on the ball, and for some reason, Simeone actually subbed out Johnny and Conor Gallagher, the double pivot, at halftime, when they were up 1-0 and controlling the game against Espanyol. So Johnny was on a yellow card, so maybe that was Simeone being cautious about that, but Conor Gallagher was not on a yellow. Just very weird sub patterns there from Diego Simeone. Atletico collapsed in the second half and lost this game 2-1. And this loss was most certainly on Diego Simeone and his very odd choices of substitutions. As for Johnny, he didn't only move to Atletico Madrid, but he's already a locked-in starter for them. Okay, maybe locked in might be too far, but based on this performance and preseason, he is most certainly a starter for them. Pochettino has to find a way to get him going with the U.S. men's national team, and Pochettino was at this game. He was watching. Now we're going to go to France and talk about the Americans in Ligue 1. The first one being Balogun. He's dealing with a calf injury, so he was not available for Monaco this weekend. Will he be available next weekend? I don't know. There are no reports confirming that he will be, and there are no reports confirming that he will not be. So Balogun as of now is questionable to play for Monaco next weekend, and he's also questionable for the U.S. men's national team September camp. So let's skip him and talk about Tim Weah from Olympique Marseille. And on Saturday, Tim Weah started off the bench and was subbed in at halftime for Marseille during their 1-0 loss to Reims. We have to see how it plays out, but it does look like we're going to be seeing a lot of wing-back Weah or even full-back Weah instead of winger Weah. In possession, he was pretty close to being a winger. He was very high up the field, but again, he still has the wing-back duties on defense. He is essentially a wing-back for club, as always, and that's fine as long as he plays a lot. After Weah, we have Marc McKenzie from Toulouse. And on Saturday, McKenzie started and played the full 90 minutes and helped Toulouse get a clean sheet during their 1-0 win in Ligue 1. They defeated Nice, and that's a good start to their season. And it was a win away from home. Last but not least, in France, we have Tenor Tessman from Lyon. And on Saturday, Tessman started and played the full 90 minutes for Lyon during their 1-0 win over Lens. Tessman was actually very good defensively, and his reading of the game is actually incredible. The positioning, the timing, the interceptions. And on the ball, he was steady and he looked comfortable with a few bad touches here and there. But overall, it was a very good performance and a very good win to start the season for Tessman and Lyon. We're done with the top 5 leagues. Now we're going to go to the Eredivisie, the Americans that play in the Netherlands. The first one being Ricardo Pepi and Serginho Dest from PSV. And on Sunday, Dest started and played the full 90 minutes for PSV during their 2-0 win over Twente. And he was incredible. He was electric. He wasn't even Dest. He was Destinho. Serginho Dest was the man of the match. He completed 7 out of 10 dribbles. The opponents were struggling to contain him. Unfortunately, he didn't really get any goal contributions, but I want to say this. He was also actually quite good defensively, which is encouraging and a surprise. He did manage to win 10 out of 15 ground duels. It's good to see Dest healthy and happy on the field once again. As for Ricardo Pepi, the current report is that he probably won't be ready to play until like 2 to 3 weeks from now, and that's still not a guarantee. So maybe he's only going to be back after the September international break, which means he would also not be available for the US men's national team. Now, their center forward for this match, Plia, whatever his name is, he was subbed out 20 minutes into the game, also with an injury. We have to wait on Pepi, of course. He needs to be healthy. Being cautious is actually the right approach. But once he is healthy, expect him to play a lot of minutes and a lot of goals to come from the American. Oh, and Taylor Booth actually played on the wing for 20 this game. He played like 60-something minutes. We won't report on Taylor every single weekend, but we're going to be keeping track of him. And if the performances improve, we'll report on him more often. But right now, I don't really see him in the US men's national team picture because he hasn't been good for at least 24 months. And he also gets injured way too often. But it looks like he's healthy. It looks like he's a starter for 20. So we'll keep track of him, but I won't report on him every single weekend. All right, time to go back to England and talk about the Americans in the EFL Championship, the second division of England. The first one being Josh Sargent from Norwich. And on Saturday, Sargent started and played 75 minutes for Norwich during their 2-1 win over Portsmouth. And Sargent scored his third goal of the season already, the second goal in the EFL Championship in 2 games played. The goal was a very poacher-like goal, a header from close range, taking advantage of the opportunity that was given to him. I said this a few times, if healthy, I would not be surprised if Josh Sargent scored 30-plus goals in the EFL Championship this season. Next up, we have Haji Wright from Coventry. And on Saturday, Haji started and played the full 90 minutes, or pretty much the full 90 minutes, as he was subbed out around the 90th minute for Coventry during their 5-3 win over Derby County. Haji scored one of the 5 goals off a penalty kick, and this is another player that I expect to do very well in the EFL Championship this season, as long as he stays healthy. The other forward I was going to talk about would have been Damian Downs from Southampton, but he was not available for them this weekend due to an illness. So we're going to skip on Damian Downs and talk about Aidan Morris, the midfielder from Middlesbrough. And on Saturday, Aidan Morris started and played the full 90 minutes for Middlesbrough during their 3-0 win over Millwall. Aidan was actually the man of the match. He had the most completed passes, he was the most fouled players with 4 fouls drawn, and he won the most duels. He won actually 13 duels. Just an incredible performance from Aidan in the midfield. Then I was going to talk about Caleb Wiley, Ajiman, but all these guys are injured, so I got nothing to say there. Apparently Caleb Wiley will be back in September, and I think Ajiman, in case you care, I do care, he will be back I think in October, right? He was dealing with a hernia, and I think he actually had surgery. Now, still in the UK, we would have talked about Cameron Carter-Vickers and Austin Trusty that play in Scotland. They played the Scottish League Cup or whatever. These are also 2 players that Carter-Vickers will likely get called in for the US men's national team, probably this camp or maybe, I don't know, October. He'll get an opportunity. But these are also players that in Scotland, that's a very meh league, probably MLS level or even worse. We will report on them most of the time, especially when they play in the Champions League, but probably not every single weekend. The same thing with like Alejandro Zendejas that plays in Mexico, right? Been playing very well for Club America, and we will report on him from time to time so you know what's going on, but not every single weekend. Why? Because as I said earlier in the video, Kim told me to do whatever I want. Now make sure to drop a like in this video if you haven't already. You should have done that already so we can hit 1,000 likes. And if you made it this far, drop a random comment to rig the YouTube algorithm. The USMNT Abroad series is back. We're happy. Let's hope we have a good season. No one gets injured. So we come into the World Cup stronger than ever and we have a good summer next year because we really need it. I want to thank you all very much for watching. Thank you So Rare for sponsoring this video. And have a great day.